The story centers on a pool technician named Bud Jablonski. On the surface, he looks like a regular guy doing routine maintenance. And right now, he is cleaning the swimming pool of an elderly woman. But once the job is done, everything takes a sharp turn. Bud suddenly pulls out a weapon hidden in his equipment basket, walks into the house, and shoots the woman with a shotgun. That should have been the end of it, but it is not. The woman's body begins to regenerate, revealing that she is actually a vampire. And Bud is not just a pool guy, he is a professional vampire hunter. Even though the vampire is slippery and hard to kill, Bud manages to take her down, along with one of her followers who shows up moments later. With the job finished, Bud collects the fangs from both vampires, planning to sell them, and leaves the scene immediately. This is just another day on the job. Welcome to day shift. The focus then shifts to a powerful woman named Audrey, a wealthy real estate tycoon known for running Rio Estate. Behind her polished business image, Audrey is also the strongest vampire of them all, essentially the leader of the vampire world. Her authority is clear when she brutally punishes a disobedient subordinate by encasing them in concrete, using their body as part of a building's foundation. Outside of hunting vampires, Bud has another role that matters just as much to him. He is a father to a young daughter who is still in kindergarten. While he is highly skilled at his dangerous job, his personal life is a mess. His marriage has fallen apart, and he is currently separated from his wife. To make things worse, she plans to sell their house and use the money to move far away. Desperate, Bud begs his wife not to leave. His daughter is the only thing he has left. Eventually, his wife agrees to stay on one condition. Bud must pay their daughter's overdue school tuition before she gets expelled. He is given just 1 week. With time running out, Bud goes to see his friend Troy to sell the vampire fangs. Normally, hunters make good money by selling fangs through the official hunters union. But Bud was kicked out of the union some time ago, leaving him no choice but to sell on the side. Troy offers him a much lower price, and Bud reluctantly agrees. He sells all the fangs along with some of his personal belongings, like his shoes and even his hunting weapons. It hurts to let everything go so cheaply, but with his family on the line, he has no other option. Things only get worse when Bud gets a call from his daughter, asking if they are really going to move away. The question breaks him. Out of options, Bud reaches out to Big John, a highly respected and influential member of the Hunters Union. Bud hopes that with Big John's help, he might be able to get back into the union and earn real money again. Together, Bud and Big John head to the union office, where they meet the manager, Ralph. It is immediately clear that Ralph does not like Bud at all. Whatever history they share, Ralph would never have let Bud back in if it were not for his respect for Big John. Ralph finally gives Bud a work schedule, but with a catch. Bud is paired with Seth, an administrative officer who has never worked in the field. Seth is not there to help hunt vampires. He is there to watch Bud closely, record every mistake he makes, and give Ralph an excuse to kick Bud out of the union all over again. The next morning, now officially paired with Seth, Bud takes him straight to their first hunting location. At first, Seth is told to stay inside the car and not move. Bud knows that fighting vampires is dangerous enough, and bringing an inexperienced partner along only makes it worse. Before long, Seth gets a call from Ralph, ordering him to follow Bud wherever he goes. No matter how risky it is, Seth has to do his job if he wants to move up. His mission is clear: watch Bud closely and document every mistake. Inside the building, Bud goes to work. He tears through the vampires with brutal efficiency, showing exactly why he is so feared in the field. When Seth finally goes inside, he finds Bud in serious trouble. Bud needs his weapon, which has been knocked far away, and asks Seth to retrieve it. Instead of acting quickly, Seth hesitates, fumbles around, and nearly gets himself killed. That first experience leaves Seth completely shaken. He is used to sitting safely behind a desk. Now he is face to face with real violence, even if the victims are vampires. To protect Seth from being tracked by vampires seeking revenge, Bud gives him a bottle of powdered flowers to mask his scent. Later, after Seth goes home, Bud discovers that his partner has left behind the evaluation report. When Bud reads it, the sting is immediate. After everything he did to keep Seth alive, the report is filled with notes about Bud's rule violations. The following day, when Bud picks Seth up, he finally lets his frustration out over that report. Without revealing his deepest secrets, Bud asks for 1 week. If Seth truly wants him removed, he just wants a little time first. Before their next hunt, Bud takes Seth to a pawn shop run by his friend Troy. But as soon as they walk in, something feels wrong. The place has been torn apart, and inside they find a gruesome scene. Troy is dead, his body mutilated, with his teeth ripped out and arranged to spell Bud's name. It is a clear threat from the vampires. As they prepare to report the incident to the union, Bud finally comes clean about his situation. His family's about to move, and without money, he will lose them. He asks Seth not to file his report yet. If the union suspends him, Bud will not be allowed to hunt, and without hunting, he has no way to earn the money he needs. Their next stop takes them to a residential area owned by Audrey. Bud and Seth stake out a large house that is likely filled with vampires. Before they can move in, they run into another pair of hunters known as the Nazarian brothers. Disguised as stereo installers, the brothers agree to work together with Bud for this mission. Once inside the house, they quickly eliminate two vampires who are distracted and unaware.
Got it.
As they search the rest of the building, Bud realizes the truth. This is not just a hideout, it is a full vampire nest. Working as a tight unit, the four hunters take down dozens of vampires without leaving a single one behind.
Send one!
Even though Seth is terrified and embarrassingly panics again, he makes it out alive. And for the first time, he survives a hunt without a single injury. When Bud gets home, he is stunned to find real estate flyers already prepared by his wife. The reality hits hard. She is serious about selling the house. Bud pleads with her not to rush things, reminding her that there are still 3 days left to come up with the money before their daughter is expelled from school. Even though he is boiling inside, Bud swallows his anger. That day, he has to take his daughter to a birthday party, and he refuses to let his personal problems spill over onto her. But just as they arrive, Bud receives a threatening message. Without hesitation, he grabs his daughter and leaves immediately. As they are about to get into the car, a vampire approaches, its body covered in sunscreen to block the sunlight. Bud takes it out on the spot. That is when more vampires reveal themselves, already lined up with their vehicles and ready to move. Bud calmly tells his daughter to buckle up, focus on her iPad, and not look anywhere around her. What follows turns into a deadly chase. The vampires pursue him aggressively, but Bud proves just how skilled he is behind the wheel, weaving through danger and staying one step ahead. In the middle of the chase, Bud calls his wife and tells her to start packing. They need to leave the house immediately. The person who sent the threat already knows where they live, and there is a real risk the vampires will show up before nightfall. The pursuit continues, and one by one, the vampires are taken out. As the afternoon fades, Bud lures the remaining pursuers toward a narrow road with a short tunnel that ordinary vehicles cannot pass through. After smashing his car through the tunnel's barriers, Bud finally makes it home safely. But he is too late. Waiting for him is the queen of the vampires. Powerless to act, Bud watches in horror as he realizes his wife and daughter are already in a grasp. Now Bud is forced to do more than just fight. He has to explain everything to his wife. He finally tells her the truth about his life as a vampire hunter. The pool technician job was nothing more than a cover to hide the danger and protect his family. Driven by revenge for the vampire she lost earlier, Audrey decides not to kill Bud's wife and daughter right away. Instead, she takes them deep into her lair inside a cave. She wants Bud to suffer, just as she is suffering now. When Bud finally regains consciousness, everyone is gone. The only one still there is Seth, who is also just waking up. Bud quickly realizes the truth. Seth has been turned into a vampire. With no other choice, Bud tries to end him. But against all logic, Seth survives, even after his head is severed from his body. Something has clearly changed. Seth is fully aware, and he is no longer tempted by Bud's blood. Seeing this, Bud decides to take him along. Together, they are going after Audrey to rescue Bud's kidnapped wife and daughter. Before heading to the vampire stronghold, Bud takes Seth to see his apartment neighbor, a woman named Heather. Bud immediately points his weapon at her, and she responds by fighting back. It does not take long for Bud to realize that Heather is also a vampire. Once he listens to her explanation, the situation becomes clear. Heather has been forced to follow Audrey's orders just to stay alive. In the middle of all this, Seth suddenly collapses. He is weak and clearly suffering from a lack of blood. Knowing exactly what he needs, Heather gives him a full ampule to drink. Once the blood takes effect, Seth's wounds heal almost instantly. Bud hesitates. Bringing two vampires into Audrey's lair is a massive risk, but in the end, he decides it is better to take that risk than to let them fall into Audrey's hands. If Seth or Heather lose control, at least they still have a fighting chance. When they arrive at Audrey's base, they are immediately confronted by the weakest of her vampire soldiers. With two powerful vampires on his side who can withstand gunfire, Bud charges forward without hesitation. A brutal battle erupts and chaos takes over. Outnumbered, the three of them are eventually forced into cover behind a concrete barrier. Just as things seem hopeless, Big John arrives in his car and opens fire, tearing through the vampires with overwhelming force. After the area is cleared, Bud learns that Big John was not there by coincidence. Seth had called him earlier, worried that the mission might fail. Bud almost rushes in to thank him, but stops himself, afraid that getting too close might cause Seth to lose control. Once they move deeper inside, the group splits into two teams. Seth and Heather head upward to deal with the vampires above. Bud and Big John push forward, hoping to reach Audrey and Bud's family as quickly as possible. Along the way, they discover a sunscreen processing facility. This illegal operation is designed to let vampires walk freely under direct sunlight. Realizing how dangerous this is, Big John destroys the operation completely, leaving nothing behind. Sensing that Bud is getting closer, Audrey's husband heads upward to intercept him. Meanwhile, Bud and Big John press on through a descending corridor, only to be met by an endless stream of vampires blocking their path. Without anyone noticing at first, Big John is bitten. He knows what that means. Rather than turning into a vampire and losing control, he makes a final decision. In one last heroic act, Big John sacrifices himself, ending his life in a powerful explosion. Not long after his friend sacrifices himself, Audrey's husband suddenly appears and attacks Bud from behind, grabbing his throat and slamming him into a wall. Just as the fight is about to erupt, Seth and Heather rush in, creating an opening that allows Bud to escape. Bud uses that moment perfectly. He races forward and reaches Audrey just before she can kill his wife and daughter. As soon as Bud fires his first shot, it becomes clear that Audrey is done playing. She snaps her high heels and launches herself at him with terrifying speed. Bud is completely overwhelmed. Audrey's attacks are so fast that he becomes little more than a punching bag, unable to keep up. Even so, with help from his wife, Bud narrowly avoids death. When Audrey strikes his wife and sends her flying, Bud reacts instantly. With his last remaining bullet, he fires at Audrey before she can reach his family. Audrey catches the bullet effortlessly and moves in, ready to end Bud's life. Everyone assumes this is the end for him, but they are wrong. In a sudden reversal, it is Audrey who dies. From the very beginning, Bud had prepared a simple trap, using the same wire he always relies on to outsmart vampires. This time it works perfectly, and Audrey is finally killed. Elsewhere, Seth and Heather are still fighting Audrey's husband, who proves to be even stronger than both of them. But in a crucial moment, he is finally defeated when they manage to pull him down together. Once everyone makes it back to the surface, they are suddenly confronted by Ralph and his forces. Seeing the chaos, Ralph is ready to expel Bud from the Union for a second time. Rules are read out, but this time Seth steps in, loudly countering every accusation with regulations of his own. His actions immediately brand him as a traitor. Even after turning against Ralph, Seth is happier than ever, having finally experienced real field work alongside Bud. As for Bud, everything finally comes full circle. He earns a fortune from the fangs of the vampire leaders, his wife forgives him, and he is reunited with his family, ready to live together in peace at last.